All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for All About High School this evening. My name is David Hubbard, and I support with cooperative education and the Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Program, also known as OYAP. So I'm going to give you a little bit of information about these programs today, and I'll do my best to cover it in this short amount of time. But if you have any questions, we do encourage you to use the Q&A feature in this webinar. So if you go down to the bottom of the page, you should see the icon with a square, triangle, and circle, and that's where you can ask your questions, and we'll get to those at the end. We also encourage you to attend any in-person high school information nights for the grade 9 schools you're interested in, where you can get some more information specific to those schools. But today we're talking about, experiential learning programs, and some of these programs include cooperative education and OYAP, which are very nicely linked together. Co-op and OYAP is a great way to test drive a career you're interested in, gain hands-on work experience and employability skills, and discovering new strengths and skills and using them outside of the classroom. It's a great way to develop, your passions and interests and seeing if something out in the community is the right fit for you or something you might want to explore more. So what is cooperative education? And that's a very fair question. But basically, to get down to it, it's a learning experience in the community where you can earn credits. So just like any other course you would sign up for, co-op is a course you're earning credits for, but it integrates both classroom theory and learning experiences within the workplace. And that community experience that gets you out of the classroom and into a business out in the community is really kind of the majority of this learning experience through co-op. So I'll talk a little bit about the course structure. So this is typically available for students in about grade 10, 11, 12, but we'll talk about that some more. And this can look like a half day or a full day. So if you're a half day co-op student, you're going to be going out into the community to a business, either for a full morning or a full afternoon in a semestered system. And if you are a full day co-op student, you'd be going out for the full day. Okay, so you can have a 2-credit co-op that gets you out for half days or a 4-credit co-op that gets you out for the full day. And it kind of looks like this. So there's something called pre-placement, and students will spend the first few weeks doing that classroom learning, specifically around job readiness. And there's a huge focus on health and safety in the workplace to ensure that students are getting the right preparation and the right training so that when they go out to the community and they start their placement through cooperative education, that they're set up for success and can really hit the ground running and do some meaningful learning out at the placement. And this is a chance to get some great things on the resume and to maybe develop that resume if you haven't had a chance yet, through getting certifications and additional training that can help really set you apart when you're applying to future jobs. And from there, you're working with your co-op teacher to find a placement that really aligns with your passions, interests, and goals, right? So if you're really interested in exploring a certain field, or you're thinking about maybe going into a program in the future and you want to try to test out that career to see if that program might be the right fit for you, you're working with your teacher to find something that really aligns with those interests and goals. And like I said, the majority of your time in cooperative education will be out in the community learning at that workplace that you've had as a placement. And then periodically, there is something called integration days where students would come back to the school, learning as a group and maybe reflecting on, their experiences out in the community placement, the skills they've been developing, and learning maybe a bit more about the pathways that they're currently exploring and what those could lead to. So it's a great way to do some career exploration and try something out. So who can take co-op? Like I said, it's for grade 10, 11, and 12 students. That said, certain businesses do require by law that you are a certain age. So for example, if you're interested in a construction type placement, you would have to be 16 years old by law. So those age requirements are still in effect for cooperative education. But beyond that, it's amazing for anyone that's interested in maybe career exploration, developing workplace skills, or trying something out in the community. So we've talked a bit about the job readiness training and learning about our strengths and interests, right? But beyond that, it's a chance to work in a different setting, right? Get you out of the classroom, into the community, and trying something out in the real world, as well as developing those transferable and specific skills through your work experience that's going to really be meaningful on your resume and maybe open doors to future opportunities and developing those skills that are going to carry with you and help you in the future. It's a chance to explore pathways to gain certifications and industry recognized training, right? That's valued by employers. A chance to build new relationships in the community with your business partners, and to potentially get a huge head start on a future career that can be a placement that will really help you in those goals. Especially if you're maybe considering an apprenticeship pathway, in which case you'd be considered an OYAP student, and we'll talk about that in a second. So the Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Program is cooperative education. Okay, so you get all the same benefits that you would through co-op that we just talked about, and it has the same structure as co-op that we just talked about. The only difference is, instead of just any placement in your community for co-op, you'd be doing a placement in what's considered a skilled trade or apprenticeship pathway. So there's 144 different careers in Ontario that are recognized as apprenticeship pathways. And if students are doing a placement in any one of these, they'd be part of the OYAP program and entitled to some extra kind of support and benefits that not all co-op students get. So like I said, it is co-op. It's a chance to maybe explore an apprenticeship or even get a huge head start on one if you know that's the career for you in your future. Unlike co-op, there are entrance requirements. So you would have to be 15 years old to be, enrolled in the OYAP program. And you would also need to have earned 14 credits already to participate in this program. So typically we see students in grade 11 and 12 doing the OYAP program, as they might not have the age requirements or the credit requirements beforehand. So typically we see this starting in grade 11. So why OYAP? There's a huge amount of job opportunities in the trades right now. And often our students are actually getting hired as paid employees and sometimes earning a paycheck while they're in high school through co-op. So it's a great way to build your skills and also potentially earn some money at the same time. And like I said, it's a great way to get a head start on your career. We have some opportunities for students who become registered apprentices, to potentially send them to our college partners like Algonquin or St. Lawrence College to do some of the required apprenticeship college learning while they're still in high school. So that can be a huge head start, open up some doors, make you entitled to higher wages and things like that. So it's a great opportunity for those knowing they're going that pathway. And apprenticeships typically fall into these 4 sectors. So construction, industrial or manufacturing, motive power, and service, which has a great variety of opportunities. These are the 144. We don't have time to go through all of them right now, but I just encourage you to kind of start exploring these, thinking about them. And if you're taking any tech and trade classes in grade 9 and 10, you're definitely going to be learning more about some of these. And I know there's a session on that today, so I encourage you to attend if you can. Beyond that, it's great for receiving support to potentially overcome some barriers, right? We know that, we don't live in a perfect world, and sometimes accessing these opportunities can, have some financial considerations and cost money. So if you need some support with things like PPE, there is some funding you can potentially access to get some support for things like steel-toed boots or a hard hat or a safety vest or glasses, things like that. There is, an opportunity to receive some transportation support. So students can receive a certain amount of dollars per semester if they're in the OYAP program. And that dollar figure can change year to year depending on how many students are in the program and the funding that's available. As well as certifications, right? We know some of these things that are required by employers aren't always free and cost some money. So things like working at heights or first aid training, depending on the placement, right? We can support with that and make sure you have what you need to open doors and access that learning opportunity. So training certifications can look very different for each student, depending on, the placement they're going into and the industry requirements. But we have some great opportunities to support, whether that's, students going into HVAC, cabinet making, masonry, needing that working at heights training to be on the construction site, we can support with that. Or students going into hospitality placements, working as cooks or assistant cooks, needing certain training like fire safety or safe food handling, we can support with these things to make sure that you have a chance to try that out and get that opportunity. And that apprenticeship roadmap, which I encourage you to, explore some more, is really just trying out tech and trades in grade 9 and 10. This is going to expose you to a great amount of career opportunities, a great amount of skill training and development. You get to, learn more about your passions and interests within the world of tech and trades. And from there, start developing your skills in those, right? You have an interest and you start following that interest and developing your skills and aptitudes. And then you get a chance to test drive it through these great programs like Co-op and OYAP that we're talking about here. And it's a way to try it in a low risk setting, right? See if it's the right fit for you before making that full-time commitment. And for those that are really serious, if you can move towards securing that sponsorship, getting some reach ahead opportunities in high school and graduating as a full-on apprentice, that can open some really huge doors and set you up for success if you are interested in those pathways. So it kind of looks like this. You start out as a participant, you're trying it out, you're seeing if it's the right fit for you. From there, you can become a registrant where you're securing that sponsorship from your employer. The employer saying, yeah, I'm going to take this student on as my apprentice. And then from there, we can start accessing those reach ahead opportunities and support you and fund you to go to get that college head start while you're still in high school. So it is a huge deal. And we have so many apprentices each year getting that reach ahead opportunity and setting themselves up for great success after high school. So the Q&A is open. I'm not asking anyone to leave. I encourage you to ask the questions you have in the Q&A. And while we have a couple minutes left, I'll do my best to get those answered. So I see one question here. When can the students take co-op? Can they take co-op in grade 10? Absolutely, right? Again, it just depends on the industry. So certain industries require you to be a certain age. So like I said, construction, you need to be 16. So as long as you meet the age requirements for the industry you're looking into, right? Co-op is open in grade 10, 11, 12 for sure. Only one, or can you try more than one co-op? Yeah, you can definitely try more than one co-op. So if you're finding that, your co-op experience isn't the right fit, maybe it's not what you expected or thought, and you're interested in trying a different opportunity, you can explore those options with your co-op teacher and be supported that way. Or maybe you're enjoying this experience that you had in grade 11 for co-op, but you want to try something different and continue to kind of expand on your experiences. If you take co-op again, you can definitely try a different experience out in the community and build new skills or explore your interests in a different industry. How can I apply for OYAP? So that's a great question. So you would enroll for co-op. So co-op is just like any other course. When you're doing your course selection, you would enroll for co-op. What about grade 9? Yep. So typically you have more mandatory courses that are required of you in grade 9, right? You have your certain amount of courses you have to take. And then starting grade 10, 11, 12, you typically have a bit more flexibility with those elective courses, the optional courses that you can kind of choose. So it can be challenging to get a co-op to fit in your schedule in grade 9. Not impossible, but we typically see co-op start in grade 10. Yeah, great question. So that looks like the end of our questions here, unless some more come in. But I'll be doing this presentation again in about 5 minutes, and I really encourage you to check out some of the other ones if you haven't had a chance to do so yet. But thank you so much for attending this evening, and really encourage you to connect with your feeder schools as well if you have any questions from the high schools that you're interested in.